My name is Joyce Littleton Craft, and I am the chair of the Board of Trustees here at National Park College.
My name is Forrest Spicher, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. My journey began in 1979. I was a student then, and from then I have been a big fan of National Park College, and I became a member of the National Park College Board of Governors for the foundation. And after that, I joined the Board of Trustees.
All right, my journey began, I guess you would say, officially when I got elected to the board at around 2000. And at that time, it was Garland County Community College, and they were going through the merger just as I came on the board with the Quapaw Technical Institute. And that's when the name changed to National Park Community College. But before then, since I was a teacher with the Hot Springs School District, of course I had familiarity with the college and the VOTEC school at the same time. And so I guess I've been a part of it for such a long time, many years before that. I was afforded the opportunity to serve on the board under 3 presidents, Dr. Spencer, Dr. Carter, and now Dr. Hogan. And each one of them had his or her own philosophy, but they all had one thing in common: student success.
What do you think sets NPC apart from other campuses?
Well, I think the National Park College campus is unique in that it has been born out of a community college model for commuters, but it has transformed into a on-campus residential facility. And so it has the feel of a small college, even though it's, for the most part, a 2-year college. We're now offering the junior and senior classes on campus, but it has a much different feel now, and I think that's what sets National Park College apart from many others.
Well, I think that it's set apart because of the many offerings that it has, and its focus on diversity, one, and the accessibility to the college. Number 2, the affordability of the college, and the opportunities that it gives our students who come from perhaps a less advantaged background. It gives them the aspiring hope that they can get a skill and they can graduate from college. And as Forrest said about the offerings that we have now, you can get a bachelor's degree here and you don't have to go anywhere else to get it. And so the college has evolved, as I stated earlier about when I first got elected, and 50 years ago, I don't think they could even imagine the college being what it is today.
Yeah.
Can you describe NPC in 2 or 3 words?
Sure, in 2 words, student success.
2 words? Okay. 3 words: transforming, affordable, accessibility.
What changes have you witnessed over your time here?
Well, during my time, going back to 1979, it has changed a lot. Since then, well, at that time there were athletics, and then athletics went away, and now they've come back, and now we have a residence hall and a pretty significant landmark building in the student commons. So I would imagine, and the Fred Dirks nursing facility. I'd say those are all substantial changes on campus. You know, and another change I think that has happened is in the employees here, particularly faculty. I think the level of credentials have escalated, and I think that has benefited the students dramatically. And so I think the quality of education they have gotten over the years has been on an upward trend and certainly making a difference. And so I think, you know, those are some of the main things that I've seen that have changed. But I would say in the 50-year history, it has always had a desire to teach and to inspire learning. And I think we're at the highest level we've ever been.
In addition to what Forrest said, ditto to everything he has said, I think the college makes a concerted effort to be all-inclusive, to make sure they seek input from all stakeholders, beginning with the students, the staff, community leaders, legislators, before they make a decision that would impact the students and the Hot Springs community.
From your perspective, how has the student experience changed and what still remains the same?
One thing in particular is that years ago, as I'll call it a commuter school or community school, is that generally speaking, we had traditional students, but we had a lot of non-traditional students that were older, maybe a second career, maybe they were in the workforce but decided, I want to do something different. And so as time has gone by, though, we have gotten more traditional students and younger non-traditional, and so the average age has been dropping, which I think ends up adding to the vibrancy of the campus. No disrespect to somebody in their 30s or 40s, but 18 and 19-year-olds just have I think we'll all agree, substantial more energy, and that is being witnessed on campus. So that average age has been dropping, and so I think that's a positive thing because it translates into students that want to excel, and then they're looking to enter the workforce, and they enter the workforce more prepared at a younger age, and they will make a difference in our community and those communities around us.
You know, another thing that has changed, we have concurrent credit. We've had that for a while. And for high school students to have that opportunity to take college courses as well as high school courses and be able to graduate from high school, some of them with enough credits for 2 years. For an associate degree, that has changed. And for the non-traditional students, as he mentioned, to have the opportunity to take online courses, they don't have to be here on campus, that has changed. We didn't have that prior.
You know, and a good point on the concurrent credit, I think, is a great deal of satisfaction when a high school student can graduate with an associate degree at the same time they graduate with a high school diploma. And that gives them a substantial leg up on their academics and the economics of higher ed. And so that's always, we've had a few of those that have accomplished that, but that is a significant milestone in their lives. But I'd say it's a significant milestone in the life of this college, too, to see someone accomplish that.
It also helps the parents out financially, and that's a big draw for our community and our parents.
So, Forrest, you were a student here. What was it like to be a student at MPC?
You know, the college was relatively young at that point. It was only 6 years old when I was a student here. And the campus was new because prior to locating here, the classes were taught in other parts of Hot Springs. So the campus was relatively new. There was a lot of excitement among the other students. And we had basketball and tennis and golf. And then after I left, baseball. So, campus life here was very interesting. It was, it's a little different than it is now in that you've got the residential component, you've got more significant facilities. And so I think the student commons being a centerpiece on campus has added to the community spirit. We didn't have that in the early days, say 45 or so years ago, but it was a good school, and it's only gotten better since then.
Have either of y'all been to any athletic events, and if so, what was it like?
Yes, I attended the basketball games, girls and boys, and it was exciting. I thought I was back in high school. And at the game I attended, they won. And so it was a great feeling to be here with the Nighthawks.
I have attended basketball games as well, and it's very exciting. And the players, the student athletes, are just exciting to watch. They're so athletic, and they work as a team, and they certainly demonstrate that Nighthawk spirit.
Has there been any faculty or staff that had a really big impact on you?
Well, for me, one of the persons that I had for a big part of my academic career, and that would be junior high and here at National Park College, then Garland County Community College, would have been Ron Chesser, who was an advisor here, and he also had been a coach, and he was my principal in junior high, and he just had a way to make you feel at ease as a student. He was not condescending. He was focused on helping you get the things that you needed academically. And so he had such a comfortable spirit and character about himself. He's one that stands out. Another faculty member that's not here any longer was Barbara Briscoe, and she was my speech teacher, oral communication. And when I had that class, I was fairly comfortable in front of a crowd, but she made it even better because she really encouraged the students, and I really got a lot out of it. I owe a lot to Miss Briscoe for her instruction, and she really inspired me.
My sister-in-law, Joan Henry, and at the time the community college first opened up, she taught here, and she wasn't my sister-in-law then. And so, but she had an impact on me because she would share with me stories about the college, and I saw how tremendously she was dedicated and committed to the college and to her students. And so she would be one person. But overall, all of the staff and the teachers, speaking from a board's perspective, have a tremendous impact on this campus and this community.
What do you hope to see for the future of MPC students?
I see nothing but good. I see nothing but an upward trend for the students. I would feel like I could speak on behalf of the Board of Trustees is that learning is the goal and student success is our mission. And we want to see young students obtain a quality education here, and in my view, not only an associate's degree or a certificate or an apprenticeship, but hopefully in some cases for those students, a bachelor's degree. And all of those completions are going to help drive the workforce to have more job opportunities in this market, and also raise the level of economic prosperity in this area. I've been in the business community my entire career, and so I see that as a vital need in our community, and to have those students be involved in all sectors of the economy. And so we need balance. And so I see that as a great opportunity for National Park College.
I would hope the future for NPC students that they take advantage of every opportunity that NPC has to offer. I see this college probably with the career coaches involved, and with all of our partnerships with the different universities where our kids can take courses here and they transfer to other colleges. I see that growing, and I see it's just, as Forrest mentioned about the economic impact. You know, when you lift one person up, you lift the whole community up. And that's what we're all about here at NPC. We probably impact generations to come, because our students have children, they have families, first generations to attend college, and that's going to continue to have an impact on the college and the future of our students.
This is so do you have any interesting or funny stories that happened on campus or that are connected to the college?
When I was 19, maybe 20, I was in between semesters at the University of Arkansas during the summer. And I was working in retail here and a little bit bored. So I decided I would take beginner's tennis. And so Dr. Cook was going to be the tennis instructor. Well, when I showed up for the first class, and I just wanted to meet some folks, and I had been playing tennis, so I thought it'd be an easy A, you know? And so I showed up, and Dr. Cook was not here. He was not the instructor. And Mike Dugan, who was on the staff here, not as faculty, but he lived on campus, was the instructor for that class, beginner's tennis. So I got in the class, and he explained that he was going to step in for Dr. Cook. And so we all paired up, started hitting shots with each other, and one by one, I ended up with Mike, who was a very good tennis player. So I'm hitting balls with him, and a couple classes later, he asked me, he said, "So what's your story?" And I said, "Well, I'm in between decisions in my life, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next." And he said, "Well, are you in college?" I said, "Well, I was at the university, and I'm not sure what my next step will be." And he said, "How would you like to be on the tennis team at Garland County Community College?" And I said, "Well, I never really thought about that as an option." And I gave it some consideration, and then I told him, "Sure, why not?" So I enrolled in the fall of '79 and was on the tennis team. And sort of a funny tangent from the story, Dr. Bill Ogden was another counselor here. He knew I was on the tennis team, and he saw me one day, and he said, "So you're on the tennis team, right?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Do you own a pair of golf clubs?" And I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I do." And he said, "Good, you're now on the golf team too." And so I played both sports and had a lot of fun with that. Well, one November evening, I was visiting with my doubles partner on the tennis team, Benny Baker, and he said, "Hey, would you like to go down and watch the men and women play basketball tonight in the old convention auditorium?" You know what I'm talking about? So that's where they played basketball. And I said, "You know, I'm not that interested. You know, I know those guys. I actually practiced with them a little bit, and no, I'm not so interested." And Benny said, "Well, the Lakeside Gold Dusters are going to be performing at halftime." And I said, "What time are we leaving?" And so we went, And Benny had a friend, you know, we were 19 or 20, and so Benny had a friend who was a senior at Lakeside, and so he was visiting her. And so I spotted another young lady, and so we struck up a conversation. And then to speed up the story a little bit, we started dating. And we dated for a year, and then she went to Arkansas State, and I went to University of Arkansas, and we both finished there. And in some ways went our separate ways. But in 1984, we got back together and was married in 1985, and I'm still married to Susan Cunningham after 38 years. So I can say an interesting story, in some ways funny too, how that all twisted. Is that I'm thankful for that opportunity, and because of Garland County Community College and now National Park College, I'm thankful for my family because of that opportunity, and then also thanks for the Gold Dusters.
What can y'all tell us about the beginnings of the college?
What I remember, I guess as a junior high student, was, well, that's an opportunity for some kids that grew up in Hot Springs can continue to go to college right here. That's what I remember. And so I think it was you know, part of a leading edge to transform the community, and we're still doing that today.
What does NPC turning 50 mean to you, and what does it say about the college?
Well, the first thing that it says to me is I'm getting very old. And but as it relates to the college, that's a milestone event in the history of this community and of this college and everyone that's had a part in it. It is a significant milestone. And what it also means to me is that not only have they survived, but are thriving. And I fully expect to see another 50 or 100 or 150 years to be tacked on to this year, and to see just an exponential benefit to the student. And again, student success is our primary target, but the ripple effect throughout the community is also something that we've seen the last 50 years, and it can only be greater with a higher level of promise in our community for the next 50, 100, 150 years and beyond.
50 years means to me that the landscape is changing. The community college, National Park College, is changing, ever changing, and that it has its strategic focus plan, and the staff stays in, they keep up with the current trends, and they make sure that the offerings are current, and they make sure they can project what's coming down the pike in the future. And so, as Forrest said, 50 years, I don't like to think of 50 years plus, but it's exciting, and the future for NPC is exciting. A lot of phenomenal things will be occurring here at NPC. The leadership is just of the highest quality that you can find anywhere.
And I can't think of a better person to lead that effort in Dr. John Hogan. He has been a leading edge in that transformation on our campus, and has inspired the faculty and the staff and the students. And one of the things I like to hear him say is, well, when asked, well, how did you come up with this conclusion or this decision or this new program or this new endeavor? He said, well, we asked the students and they told us. And so that's always been a resonating component of his leadership style, is that he listens to the students and then formulates a plan. And so that's why we've seen so much happen in the last 7 or 8 years, and I feel like we'll see more of that coming.